loops, and iterations. What are iterations? Iteration is when the same procedure is repeated over and over again. Rather than typing every line of code manually, loops allow codes to recur so that our lives will be much easier. Python has two types of iterative loops, the for and while loops. Imagine that you're a delivery man and you need to deliver the same item to 5 different houses. You get the first package and you drop it off to the first house. Then, you do the same thing for the second package. You drop it off to the second house. You repeat this process until you don't have any more packages and you can go home and rest. For loops, or iterative statements, have a similar concept. It basically means doing something over and over again until the condition has been satisfied. It's used for iterating a sequence, which could be a list, tuple, a dictionary set, or a string. Let's give it a shot. Let's try looping through the colors. Using the print function, this should print all the colors in a list. We can also loop through a string. For example, we have the word orange. We can loop through every single character of that word, like so. The continue statement skips the value of the variable and proceeds with the rest of the items in the list. If you want to stop the loop completely, you can use the break statement. Since you place the break after red, it will not include orange and yellow anymore. This time, let's try using the range function. The range function provides a sequence of numbers, starting from 0 and ending at the number that you specified. This is so that you can loop through the code the same amount of times that you specified. Say we want to do 8 loops. In that case, we will declare a variable, x. Then, we'll get y in x, which is the range of the 8 loops. Note that, by default, the range function always starts counting at 0. Up next, we have the nested keyword, which is basically a loop within a loop. So we have our colors, right? Let's add another variable called things. Now you have an inner loop within your loop. Great job! Now we can move on to the while loop. While loops are used when you want to iterate statements until it becomes false. For example, let's use an integer. We'll be using the letter I as a variable to represent our integer, which is 1. Then, we'll use our while loop to create a statement. While I is less than or equal to 10, our statement remains true. Then you'll have to increment the variable I to make sure that your while loop doesn't go on forever. We'll be incrementing I here by adding 1 to I as per iteration. The statement remained true until I reached the value of 10, since the condition was that I should be less than or equal to 10. Just like with the for loop, you can also use continue and break statements for while loops. Here's how to use the continue statement for the while loop. Suppose I is equal to 0. Let's set our condition to be if I is equal to 4, we will continue like so. Just like when we used it on the for loops, using the continue statement will omit the specified number, which in this case is 4, and continue with the iteration. Finally, we have the else statement. Using this statement, the code will iterate until it is proven false. And that's it for loops and iteration. In this video, we learned about for loops, while loops, break statements, continue statements, range function, nested keyword, and else statements. Great job! Study hard!